Hey guys, today I'm going down to South Florida. It's about a 3-hour trip, almost 200 miles, and we're gonna take the V12 Mercedes. And the reason we're gonna do that is we're gonna find out how good of gas mileage it's gonna get. You know, a lot of people will tell you that you always get 12, 13 miles per gallon on a V12 no matter where you drive it, and I hope to debunk that today. Now, we got to remember, that car weighs almost 5,000 pounds. It's got over 500 horsepower, and of course that V12 engine, it's no Prius, but I think we can do pretty decent given our circumstances. So let's get in the car, hop on the road, and see how good we can do with a V12 twin-turbo Mercedes. Come on. So as you see, I'm at a stoplight right now, and I'm averaging on this few couple city miles, and this is what I've noticed driving in city. I get about 13 to 14 miles per gallon. 14 if you're really good, 12 if you're pretty stop and go. All right, we are getting onto I-275 here in Tampa, and right here, whoa, hello. That's why you shouldn't take videos while you're driving. I averaged in the city in my, what is that, a 5-mile trip, about 13.8. Let's just round it and say 14 miles per gallon, because I'll take that 14 miles per gallon. It's nearly impossible to get anything over 13 miles per gallon in this V12 Mercedes. Right now, we're on the highway. This is just a 55-mile-an-hour stretch. When we get on I-75, that will be our 70-mile-an-hour stretch, and we're going to see if we can't get over 20 miles per gallon. There's the controversial Confederate flag on I-75 here in Florida. Anyway, check out my my screen mirroring stuff. I'm not looking at it, you guys are. I've just got this phone being held straight forward. And since our trip, we've traveled 18 miles. And guys, we're already at 17.3 miles per gallon in the V12 twin turbo, and I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to break that 20 mile per gallon number. Look at all the power trucks coming back from South Florida because of Hurricane Irma. There was even more than I could get in this shot. All right guys, we are currently 35 miles into this trip, averaging so far, this is combined me getting on the highway and that short stretch of kind of trafficy highway. Now we've got pretty clear roads, 18.7 miles per gallon, and I'll be honest with you, you just saw probably I was going around 80 miles an hour, don't tell anybody, but this car is hard to drive the speed limit in. And right now I felt the necessity to rant just slightly because I'm absolutely loving this car. I've only had it for a few months, and honestly, I've only been able to drive it around town. Then we had the hurricane. I just haven't been able to get around and really get to utilize it as I should. And this, I think, is what this car was meant to do, these long highway stretches. I mentioned it another time, but Tavares came out with a video entitled, you can buy a cheap V12 Mercedes with 1 million horsepower for the price of a Honda Civic. But should you? So he leaves you with the question, should you? And I'm pretty darn sure he says, yes, you should, and I agree 100%. Now, the main reason people stay away from these cars is simple. The maintenance will kill you if you don't work on them yourself. And honestly, if you do work on them yourself, the maintenance still might kill you. The parts are not too unreasonable, and no joke. Ask Hoovy, ask anybody else with one of these cars. They're kind of reliable. When I say kind of, knock on wood grain here, because I don't want to get stuck in a couple 100-mile trip. You can drive these cars and everything will work. Now, might they start spewing fluid? Might they start doing something that is a typical problem, especially on older German cars? Absolutely, without a doubt. But never have I ever heard of some sort of catastrophic failure that was not human This Buick looks like a Mercedes right here. What is that thing? But anything I've ever heard of catastrophic, let's take Hoovie's car for example. If you went and heard the entire story there, the owner of the car, the original owner, tried to JB weld up the radiator, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that's totally user error. Then drove it, and I'm sure these cars are so intelligent, they continue to bing and bong and bing, 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 bing.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
So the fact the guy was driving it with a stop driving this car, it's overheating light, tells me it's user error. Probably the most concerning failure point on these cars is the ABC suspension. But I'm telling you, it's what makes the car so great. I've driven in a lot of cars with air suspension, and this is an old technology. I mean, again, this car is 10 years old, but this has a hydraulic suspension. The shocks are filled with fluid. There's accumulators filled with fluid. There's a pump pushing the fluid through valve block, all sorts of different things. See how many parts I just described, and I'm going to expand on that in a further video. But there are so many failure points, not to mention just to flush the system is like $150 worth of fluid and filter. The ride with the ABC suspension though is like no other. All three Mercedes I've owned have had the ABC suspension, and I can tell you right now, there's a good reason they got rid of it, and that is because of the cost associated with it. But boy, oh boy, does it make the character of this car. Now we'll end the rant there. I'm going to definitely bring you more videos on this car because driving it this longer distance, I am having so much fun. But I gotta tell you guys, we just cracked 19 miles per gallon. Don't know if you can see that there. We are 42 miles in, again, couple 100-mile trip, and we're gonna crack 20 miles per gallon. I'm gonna show you how much better than 20 miles per gallon we can get. And look, that whole entire rant, I was doing around 80, 85 miles an hour. So we're not keeping this thing at 60, guys. It's not like I'm hypermiling, I'm pulling all sorts of tricks. I'm driving it, and I'm just keeping up with the flow of traffic. Took a little quick stop at the gas station to fill everything up. Let's turn it on. Put it in drive. So far we've gone about 107 miles. I gotta make a U-turn up here and get back on the expressway. So this will mess with our gas mileage a little bit, but this is a real world test. 66 mile per hour average. What do you think gets better gas mileage? Right now we're at 19.9 after that stop. Right here is a Power Stroke diesel. I heard that these things get pretty good gas mileage. Hit up the comment section below right now. Tell me, Power Stroke diesel lifted truck or V12 Mercedes? Check out what Hurricane Irma did to these road signs here. Look at that. Just unbelievable. You see all the trees down. This is North Naples, guys. This is where Hurricane Irma really came on shore and nailed, you know, Florida. This is the worst part of Florida. And I'm coming to you right now because we just got off on our exit and we are at 20.3 miles per gallon. And I think that's about as good as we're gonna get. 170 miles in, and we've averaged 69 miles per hour. See the traffic light all the way on the left? Check this out. If I could just get out of this lane. Check this guy out. Completely tilted from Irma. Wow. Now, guys, this is like a week or more. This is almost 2 weeks later after Irma hit, and we're talking about palm trees down in the middle of the road here. All right, guys, it is the next day. I've made it to my final destination here in South Florida, and it's total devastation down here. Now, before we forget, our final mile per gallon figure was 20 miles per gallon on the dot. And I want to also mention one other thing. In the 2007 Mercedes and all of the V12s of the W221 era, they were all 5-speed automatic transmissions. Now, the regular V8 Mercedes S-classes, they had 7-speed automatic transmissions for gas mileage, of course, but since there's so much power being put out by the V12s and the, you know, AMG cars, they went with the 5-speed. That also will reduce the miles per gallon. So 20 miles per gallon. In my opinion, I think it's pretty darn good, especially figuring that the EPA gave a rating of like 12 to 19. Anyway, as you saw on the drive in, as you see behind my shoulder, things are crazy. In the distance, there's gates that have been ripped down because trees fell on them. To give you an idea how big this is behind me, I'm about 6 feet tall. Look at this picture that I just uploaded on Instagram. If you're not already following me on Instagram, it's at Sam, C-R-A-C-C. Everything you need to do to get to my Instagram or contact me via email is in the description box below. If you want to see what South Florida looks like right now, this is 2 weeks after Hurricane Irma, be sure to drop me a comment, let me know. This is clearly the worst storm I've ever been around, and Tampa, where I was located during the storm, was like child's play compared to what happened around here. Guys, I appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, and I will catch you very soon.